From ancient Bronze Age sites and Roman ruins to impressive cave systems, a historic glass factory, and even an all-inclusive boat trip, Eastern Mallorca has it all. In this video, we'll take you on 4-day trips exploring the island's history, culture and natural wonders. You'll see the tourist highlights as well as hidden gems off the beaten path. So sit back, relax and enjoy the tour. Here we are at the Dragon Caves near Porto Cristo. We visited in October 2025. We thought that, being October, it wouldn't be too busy, that we would just pay for a ticket, maybe wait around for half an hour, and then go and take a look around the caves. But we were wrong, it was absolutely packed. In 2025, the online price for an adult ticket was €17.50 and €10.50 for a child. I would recommend buying the tickets in advance online. Not only does it save you €1 per person, but it saves having to queue and having to wait for a tour to become available. I will leave a link in the description to where you can purchase tickets and for excursions to the caves that pick up from hotels if you're not staying locally or hiring a car. Unfortunately, we had a 2-hour wait for a tour to become available, so we had a little look around the gift shops and we went to the coast. At the end of a quiet road with plenty of parking sits this watchtower. It was built in 1577 on the hill of the Falcons. It was partly destroyed in 1936 during the pro-Franco bombings and rebuilt in 1960. It's just a few minutes' drive away from the Dragon Caves and a nice spot to stretch your legs and take in the view. If you didn't book cave tickets in advance, it's also an easy 10-minute walk from the Dragon Caves car park to pass the time. The tour is about an hour long and takes you through huge caves with spectacular rock formations. There is also a live classical music concert performed from boats on the underground lake, with an optional boat ride at the end, but photography is not allowed during the concert. This attraction has a cafe, gift shops, great toilets and plenty of shaded parking. We really enjoyed the visit, but we recommend that you take a lightweight jacket or cardigan as it is quite cool down in the caves, and definitely book ahead. After the caves, it was time to visit Porto Cristo. Just a 2-minute drive from the caves is a free parking area on the Torre del Serral. An elderly gentleman was kindly directing cars to available spots. He mentioned that parking was free, but he appreciated a couple of euros for his assistance. I'll leave a Google Maps link showing the car park and our route in the description. We left the car park with a left turn, headed downhill, crossed the river and turned right. Within minutes we were strolling along the waterfront. We had lunch at the Fusio Lounge, although all the restaurants looked inviting to be fair. After lunch, we wandered along the waterfront to the seafront, browsed some lovely shops, snapped a few photos by the large Porto Cristo sign, and treated ourselves to some delicious ice cream. Then it was time to make our way back to the hotel with one final stop to round off the day. The drive from Porto Cristo took 30 minutes, and we arrived at 5 p.m. It was quiet but still difficult to park, as it is a small village. We enjoyed a little wander round and went up to the castle, which unfortunately was closed as it was 5 p.m. If only we'd booked those cave tickets. In 2025, the entrance fee was €3. I will leave a link in the description for all the attractions that we visited. Our first stop of the day is for lovers of ancient history, Ses Païsses. I hope I'm saying that right, but I very much doubt that I am. The place is easy to find, and there's a free shaded car park with some picnic benches. Next to the ticket office is a shed with a basic but clean toilet.
At the heart of the site stands a central Talaiotic, a megalithic tower. It could have been a lookout, a meeting place, a spiritual centre. The experts are just not sure on that. And the whole site is surrounded by a very impressive wall. We arrived at about 10:30 in the morning. We had the place to ourselves and we spent around 45 minutes there. We enjoyed our little trip around. It was really peaceful and being shaded, it was nice, it wasn't too hot. You can just about go anywhere, there's no areas that seem to be off limits. Interesting site, and for €4 for the entrance fee, definitely worth a visit. Our next stop was 30 minutes drive away, the Ethnological Museum de Muro. The museum is free to enter and open Tuesdays to Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. On-street parking is free, but it is a very busy little town. We barely saw any people, but we did have to park the car a street or so away from the museum. Set inside a beautifully preserved 17th century house, this museum offers a unique look at how people once lived and worked on the island. This is a lovely little museum, well laid out and informative. Again, very quiet. The only people we saw were leaving as we entered, and we spent around 40 minutes looking around here. Very nice little place. A 30-minute drive away from Muro, and just across the road from the ancient city walls of Alcúdia, are the well-preserved remains of the impressive Roman city of Pollentia.
Entrance for an adult is €4, and this also includes entry to the museum in town.
Pollentia is open Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 9 p.m, and Saturday and Sunday, 9 p.m to 1 p.m. However, the museum in town, that holds a lot of the artefacts found on the site, is open Tuesdays to Fridays, 8:30 to 1:30 p.m. Just by the ticket office, there's a block of modern clean toilets. We spent around 30 minutes exploring the area, but didn't manage to see everything. It's far more extensive than it first appears. With the lack of shade and the heat, it was just a bit of a challenge because we were there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Unfortunately, we missed the associated museum in town with artefacts from the site as it closes quite early. So if you are planning a visit, I would go in the morning, beat the heat and make sure you catch the museum whilst it's still open, and definitely give it more than 30 minutes. After exploring Pollentia, we headed into Alcúdia Old Town, had a bite to eat and took a leisurely walk along a section of the city's historic walls. By 4 p.m. we were feeling tired, and so we called it a day. In hindsight, we'd planned the day a little differently. Although we enjoyed the day out, we would have been better off starting with Pollentia and the museum in the cooler morning hours, enjoying a lunch in Alcúdia, making the stop in Muro, and then finishing the day at the Talaiotic site. It would have made for a more comfortable and complete experience. If you'd like any further details about any of the sites, I'll leave links in the description along with a Google Maps route. Here we are, just outside the Gordiola glass factory, just off the MA15, 18 kilometres from the airport. Founded in 1719, this is the fourth oldest glass factory in Spain. Inside is a shop with an Aladdin's cave of beautiful glassware. It's very expensive though, but as you can see, it's all lovely stuff. I really like these little palm trees, but they were expensive and fragile, so there's no way I was going to get one of those. We did, however, find this cute little dish for €30. Entry to the shop is, of course, free. However, if you want to go and see the glassblowers in action and visit the museum, it's €8 each. Here we are at the toilets where the castle vibe continues. Here we are in the glass blowing factory. It's quite warm in there. Absolutely fascinating to watch the process. Having watched them work and see how long it takes to make a single piece, you start to understand why they are so pricey. Our visit to Gordiola took just over an hour. It's really nice to see something very different from other attractions on the island, and I can thoroughly recommend it.
A 15-minute drive from the Gordiola glass factory brought us to this desolate, windswept hillside. The 3-hectare site houses the remains of a town inhabited from around the 10th century BC to medieval times. Excavations began in 1975, but it is thought that only 15% of the site has been uncovered so far.
This place was absolutely amazing, and this structure, the largest on the site, is thought to have been a communal abattoir. We spent around 20 minutes exploring this impressive site. We had the place to ourselves as well, which is always nice. Free parking, free entry, but no toilets.
This museum, housed in an old windmill, is dedicated to the most significant finds excavated from the Son Fornés site, and it's only 10 minutes' drive away. We were the only people there, and we had a lovely chat with the lady archaeologist in charge who had worked on the site. There's lots to see in a modern, well laid out building. Small but clean toilets. The entry fee for an adult was €3.50. There's free parking, and we spent around 40 minutes here. A 20-minute drive from the museum is Els Calderers, a grand manor house built in 1750, with numerous rooms furnished to reflect the life of a noble family in the 18th century. Surrounding the estate are historic outbuildings, complete with farm animals and traditional workshops. The estate is open every day except Christmas Day and New Year's Day, from 10 in the morning till 5 at night. The entrance fee is €10 for an adult, €5 for a child, but there is a family ticket for €25 that covers 2 adults and 2 children. The place is easy enough to find and there's free parking. I will leave a link in the description for a Google Maps route and details. When we booked our tickets online, we also pre-booked a typical Mallorcan snack, pambole, which is artisan bread with local produce, tomatoes, olive oil, ham, cheese and olives, all for €6 each. The prices in the cafe were very reasonable. Els Calderers is definitely worth a visit. The mix of elegant manor house and working farm offers plenty to see, and it wasn't crowded. The cafe is modern and airy, with excellent, reasonably priced food, though the menu is quite limited. There's also a lovely small gift shop and excellent toilets. We spent around an hour and a half here. After a 40-minute drive, we arrived at our last stop of the day, the Caves at Artà. The caves are open every day except Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Entrance fees in 2024 were €12 for an adult, €5 for a child, and no charge for the under sevens. Again, free parking. The highly informative guided tour lasted 40 minutes and included a light show to music. We anticipated a more modest experience compared to the Dragon Caves, given that these caves are less well known and cheaper to visit, but we were pleasantly surprised. They're just as nice as the Dragon Caves. Nestled by the edge of the sea, these beautiful caves are absolutely fantastic and definitely worth a visit. We had a wonderful, varied day out, from glass blowing to early civilization, 18th century grandeur to a natural wonder. I will leave links in the description to the Google Maps route that we used and to the attractions that we visited.
For our final day trip out, we treated ourselves to a 5-hour boat cruise, complete with drinks and lunch. At 10 a.m, we set off from Cala Ratjada, ready for a relaxing day at sea. On board, there was no shortage of refreshments: cold water, soft drinks, beer, and wine. From the moment we left the harbour, we enjoyed stunning views of the coastline. The seating made the journey really comfortable, with padded wooden benches and beanbags to stretch out on. Our swim stop was just off the Costa del Pines, which means Pine Coast. Here, paddleboards and snorkelling gear was provided for anyone who fancied a dip. The facilities are basic. The toilet is tucked away below deck, accessed through this hatch, but when you're on board for 5 hours with plenty of drinks, it's definitely appreciated. Lunch was freshly prepared on board, made with local ingredients, and it was delicious. Here we are, cruising past our hotel, the Aluasol Carolina. If you'd like to see a review of that hotel and a full tour, a link will be left in the description. With a maximum of just 12 passengers on board, the trip felt calm, personal and relaxed. The pricing for this excursion varies depending upon the season. In April 2025, there was a 3-hour boat trip for €60 per person, or you could charter the whole boat for €660. From May to October, the full 5-hour trip costs €100 per person, or €1,150 for a private charter. Transfers could also be arranged. We opted for transfers from our hotel in Font de Cala, which cost €15 each. With 4 of us, we could have saved a little by booking our own taxi, around €16 each way. The journey took around 12 minutes, so it was quick and hassle-free. we enjoyed the trip, and although it looks a little bumpy in the video, it was actually very comfortable. The food was delicious and the drinks were excellent. If you would like to book this excursion, I will leave a link in the description.
That's the end of our trips around eastern Mallorca. I hope you enjoyed them and found a few ideas for your own visit. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching.